There's nothing more important than algebra in this course. So let's have a look at a few of the harder questions. This first one, not a hard question, but some of you started it by just simply dividing by 2. But you can't do that because your answer, therefore, is half of the correct answer. Similarly, some of you solved it as though it said equals 0. It doesn't say that. So all we're doing is factorizing, and you should have started it by saying this. And so we've taken out the highest factor we can, and then factorized the quadratic, and this 2 must stay in because it is one of the factors. This is a really nice question here. Some of you multiplied this out and then collected like terms and got the correct answer. Some of you just crossed that out, and then you have x plus 2 equals 3x minus 2, which leads to 2x equals 4. But it's not correct to cross this out, because what have you done when you cancel this? What you've done is you've divided by 2x minus 3 both sides. You've divided by 2x minus 3. Now, what is the problem with dividing? Well, the only real problem is you can't divide by 0. Now, how do you know this isn't 0? So the really smart way of doing this is to, I'm going to move this whole expression here to the left-hand side. I'll just cut a corner by making that a minus sign and making that equals to 0. So it's the same thing. Now I'm going to factorize 2x minus 3. That's what I've got, an x plus 2 there, minus, and I've got a 3x minus 2 there. That has to be in brackets. And that is 2x minus 3. And then inside these square brackets, I've got a minus 2x. I've got a plus 4, I think. So it's minus, I think it's that. And so x is equal to 2. Or x is equal to 3 over 2. Nice. An alternative approach to that question is, I think, probably preferable, which you say, if 2x minus 3 is 0, then that's a solution to this equation. So I would just simply write 2x minus 3 is 0. Therefore, x is 1.5. Or x plus 2 is equal to 3x minus 2. And therefore, x is equal to 2. Okay, so quite tricky, that one. So a lot of you made good progress on this question, but didn't really explain it. Let's substitute that x in there. 3 minus 2y plus 6y equals 10. That gives us 9 minus 6y plus 6y equals 10. 9 equals 10. And I had lots of crying emojis and exclamation marks. Or people just writing and saying, no solution. No solution is the correct answer, but why? And what are you doing? You don't want to be a robot. What did we just do here? What are these things? Well, they're straight lines. And so what's happened here is they're parallel. We could see that if you wrote that as y equals mx plus c, this top one would be y equals minus a half x plus something. And the other one would be y equals minus a half x plus something else. They're parallel. That's all. That one was no problem. This one, a few of you going for any denominator, but we want the lowest denominator. So you look at this and say, what's the minimum I need to do? And that is to multiply this one by, let's move it there, by n plus 2. N plus 2 on the top and the bottom. Now I've got a common denominator. So I can then say, okay, this is n, I'll multiply that out, n squared plus 2n plus 1. And then there is a common denominator there, so n plus 1, n plus 2. And some of you stopped there, but you should always attempt to factorize the top and the bottom of a fraction. One or two of you multiplied the bottom of the fraction out. Never do that. We want things to be factorized. When we do factorize the top, we get that. And so n plus 1 times n plus 1, I'm going to write it like that to make it a bit clearer. And one of those n plus 1s cancels, so there's the answer, n plus 1 over n plus 2. Lastly is this one. A lot of you did really well on this question using the quadratic formula. Really nice. I'm going to factorize it though. It's a quadratic, why not? It's clearly got 5x and x. There can't be any other option. And I'm looking over here. I need to get 3t squared, which could be 3 and t squared, or 3t and t. And it's not obvious which one it is, but I'm going to put 3t and t. It could be the other way around, but I'm looking to get a 16. And so I've got a 3t and a 5, so that's just not right, is it? Let's try it the other way around, and I probably should have done that in my head. So I'm just doing in my head, that's 15, that's 1. It gives me a chance. It's not necessarily correct. Now, I need this to be positive, so these are both have to be negative. Then I just run through it. Have I got everything? 5x squared, yep. I've got a really nice 3t squared, and it's positive. I've got a minus 15xt and a minus xt, so that's perfect. Some of you got that and then stopped, but this question is a solve question, so you should say that's equal to 0. Now, if you have a factorized expression equals 0, then you go through the factors and say, well, one of them must be 0. Let's try that one. Is it that one? Well, if it is, then x is t over 5. Is it this one? Well, if it is, then x is 3t. So there's my two answers. Really nice.